This is
don't smoke them.
This is the funnest thing you can ever do. Ever. Look at our holding.
I'm the holding apparatus.
All right, we got to make sure we're bending. It don't really matter. I'm gonna match that. Right there.
From there.
Okay, so we bought a few things off Amazon. We bought a brake line bender. We bought some 3/16 brake line. So what we're doing on this buggy, we got a Wheelwood master cylinder down there, and we got a knockoff Wheelwood pedal that we shortened that you guys just seen. So we're basically teeing it out of the master cylinder, going into this e-brake. So basically this is where you can have a reservoir or use it as a pass-through. So from the pedal, it'll come in this side, then it'll come out this and go back to these little pucks that I bought. So on the rear, we have these little T's that have a bolt hole so you can bolt it down to the frame. We got 3AN lines on each side. We're running braided 3AN brake lines to banjo fittings on each A-arm, and then this will get the 3/16 brake line. This will be on front as well. Brake line is the worst. We've already messed up one because, you guessed it, we had our nut right here. Once we bent this 45, it's actually like a 50 degree, but we had our nut on this side, so we had to cut it off and start over. But brake line's cheap, so you know, whatever. And I only got to pull out, and we're getting a new seat for this. This seat is not made for big daddies. It fits Lonnie good.
Fits me perfect. It would be super comfortable for me.
Well, if you'd ever do your dirt bike build, that could be your seat. Oh, now you're thinking about it. And about all the bad decisions you made. Marriage. That's the only one I can think of right now. No. I'm probably going to TIG weld the seat bolts in. So,
snug her up.
Just a second.
That bend might be perfect, actually.
I think it is. That look good all the way down?
Looks good to me.
That look perfect. All right, I'm gonna mark this. So we're just marking where we need to 90 this. You know what this is, don't you? Breaking news. You like this apparatus we had to do? This is like hydraulic fitting into adapter, into brake line adapter. It's pretty wild. Links to all these supplies are in the video description. Okay. Alright, so it's been a while since you guys have seen the buggy. Well, not really, because it just did the supercharger, but the reason it was gone from the channel for 2.5 months, 2 months or so, was for one, we was working on customer vehicles like Randy's Yerf Dog, which is now ready for powder coat, stripped down and prepped. But the biggest reason was we got these shocks from Dave's Off-Road, and Dave's Off-Road is an awesome place to do business with. We don't have no regrets dealing with him. But FOA sponsored us after we bought these shocks. We paid for these shocks, and then we contacted them and was like, hey, we're going to build plenty other buggies. Would you want to sponsor the channel? And they agreed to it. So then when we got the shocks in from Dave's Off-Road, basically they sent us on accident the wrong spring length. These are dual rate springs, so they have a top and a bottom spring. So they was way too long. We needed like a 26.5 eye to eye length, and they was like 32.5 with these springs on them. So once FOA sponsored us, Dave's Off-Road quit handling the case because FOA said, hey, we're going to sponsor and we'll handle the case. That's where things got a little hairy. basically we waited for over a month to receive the right springs that we should have had. Then they came in and we finally was like, all right, a month and a half of waiting, we can finally put these things together. Well, what ended up happening was they sent us the same exact springs, length and all. This is FOA, not Dave's Off-Road, because Dave's Off-Road has been nothing but a pleasure to work with. So we had to contact Dave's, and they sent us black ones, and we paid for red. The first set of springs we got was red. So then we contacted Dave's Off-Road after, I'm telling you, I was in a month and a half, we waited on FOA to send us our springs. So finally I contacted Dave's Off-Road and was like, man, it took us a month and a half to get our springs, and then lo and behold, they come in and they're wrong. He was like, yeah, that's insane. He said, okay, we're not going to mess with FOA no more. I'm going to handle this because it's making my business look bad, basically. And Dave had these springs out to me in, I think, 3 days.
Yeah,
they came in
quick.
the mail. So huge shout out to Dave's Off-Road. If you're looking for shocks, they sell Fox, King, I think. They sell all types of brands. Anyways, he got us the springs we were supposed to originally got. So this is them. You know, we could have to tweak this some. We don't know yet. These do not have nitrogen in them either yet. We got to get them filled. So we will have to get them filled at my buddy's shop down the road, who owns a motorcycle shop. But finally, that's why the buggy was gone for so long. We had the wrong springs. After 4 sets, we was like, this is ridiculous. And basically gave up on FOA. So now we got 1 set on. Oh my gosh. By the way, FOA, stop using Harbor Freight Allen bolts. Like legit, these are Harbor Freight Allen bolts. If you ever bought the Allen bolt kit from Harbor Freight, which we own it, we own the set, they are horrible quality. Like the Allens, for one, are off-centered, the way they're machined or whatever, and they don't fit like they're supposed to fit a 5 mil. It's loose in there, no metric or standard fits them good, and that just almost stripped out. So I'm probably gonna have to use an easy out to get that out and put a quality stainless or something in it. Unbelievable. But anyways, we're not here to bash. We just want to get this buggy done. Still got a lot to do, but we will get her done. Good Lord willing. In the creek don't rise. Come on, baby. Come on. It's hard doing this single personally. Need to slide this forward enough to get this half in. We engineered this buggy perfectly to fit this size spring. Okay, so this is a little ratchet, but what we're doing is running 1 washer on a 4-inch long, 1/2-inch bolt, and then we're using 2 5/8 lock nuts as spacers. And once I set the suspension down, I'll be able to put my limiting strap on, which is 25 inches from eye to eye. Put that 4-inch long bolt in there. Put one up here. Come on, baby. Okay. And we are getting grade 8 bolts when we final assemble this. Everything will be grade 8. So basically put those on just like that on top and bottom. And we got ARP limiting straps. You can buy these in inch increments, where before we had, I can't remember the brand, but basically they only sold in 2-inch increments and we needed 25. So we have, basically our shock is going to run out of travel at, like the springs would get loose at after 26.5 from eye to eye. So we want to stop it well before that. Even though these are quad ply straps, they still could stretch about 1 inch over time. So we're giving it 25, so it has 1.5 inches of stretch for the future.
Can we talk about the cancer and reproductive warning on them?
Oh, that's about every part you get now. Becca's worried when it says we'll give you cancer and reproductive harm. But if you read it closely, it says in California. So Bless you Californians' hearts. But everything gives you cancer in California. Okay, so we'll have to set the preload a little bit more, but that'll let us. And, you know, the fact that when we put our nitrogen in it, it's going to make a big difference as well. So we can preload that because it needs some preloading. So what we got to do is get this. This basically stops this top spring from getting cool on cool. So you put this and it's going to stop how far this pushes up. So this is what eliminates this spring. So we'll lower that until we get cool on cool, which we're not going to get cool on cool. I mean, that hit my jack actually. I mean, this buggy can drop into the floor pan. And of course the preload. We need a lot higher ride height.
That looks like fun.
And then of course it'll go up to there.
Jeepers, you're strong.
Well, haven't worried out. Showing 15?
Should be.
Dead on, girl. Looks sick. Looks sick. I'll tell you, Vivid Machine Works. Or a French kiss you right in the mouth. I'll tell you, if you weld much, you gotta buy one of these blankets from Harbor Freight. They are the best investment. Other than better shop help.
How rude.
I didn't mean you. Got one more to do. We'll show you how these things go together. Hot, hot. So here's the heat sinks all apart. Well, they're basically apart. You have 6 set screws that bolt the 2 halves together. Then you have 3 set screws that hold this from ever sliding out. Because basically what he found, he mocked 4 of his FOA shocks and they was all different sizes within, I think, like 50 thousandths of an inch. So he can't make this a specific size because he don't know what size, you know, I had. So these will lock that down in place, and then you got these 2 that bolt to the plate over there. So first, I need to slide the shock for the reservoir, my bad, in here. And I do have this loose, the actual hose, because we have not filled these with nitrogen yet. It should be 2 7/16 to match the front. Alright, now we got to make sure we have it clocked right, which seems about right. So now we can tighten the outside ones down. And he didn't tap the center ones, I did, so they look a little crusty. I can't find my my deburr bit. Ooh, ChristianSingles.com.
Baseball group.
Oh, that's the worst, being a dad and getting all these group messages from baseball cheer. So back every year, you put me on one of those group messages.
We love you and we just want you to feel like you're a part of everything.
Don't want to be. I mean, I'll be at the games, but alright, so now I gotta measure out. Oh yeah. And then we can line up. This mark is measured at the same the other side and get those lined up, and we can put a fat daddy weld on this puppy too. Huge shout out to Vivid Machine Works. Those things are sick.
We met him at FabTech.
Yeah, in Chicago, home of the births. But yeah, that's where we met him at, and he said he could make these, and I said, "You're lying, you can't do it." And he sent us a test one The first one was real boxy on top, and he was able to knock off like a 1/4 inch material, and then he sent me basically 3 complete ones and a new top, and I reused the old bottom. But it's freaking sweet though. Super appreciated for sure.
For sure.
For sure, dude.
Dang, we're making progress. So much. Oh my gosh.
Becca, I'm in the process of building a bigger garage right now. It just takes time because I get mediocre views.
Go hit that subscribe button, people.
Probably the 6 watching it is subscribed. It does look sick.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even say it. Don't even.
Tap on.
If you do, I'm gonna flip. Well guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. The buggy's getting that much closer. I only get to work on this thing like maybe one day a week. It sucks. Sometimes I go weeks without being able to touch it. But we're trying to run a successful business here. So we do have customer projects. We're going to stop on customer projects for just a little bit once Randy's cart, which is actually back from Powder Coat the Yerf Dog. So now we can assemble it and get it out of here. Then Randy has actually dropped off another cart for us to build, and we're also doing a Honda Odyssey, as you can see there, for a guy. We're putting a stage 4 Duromax on it, and I know people are going to be mad that we took the 2-stroke off, but we got to keep the 2-stroke, so we're going to put that on something. We just do what the customer wants. But yeah, unfortunately we do have to, it's not unfortunate because it does help us to continue to do this, but we have to do customer projects, and I have to just pick and choose, you know, the best time I can work on this buggy. So huge shout out to Dave's Off-Road for getting everything fixed up with those shocks. Again, we're going to work with FOA in the future if they can, you know, basically get stuff done in a timely manner. Basically, we don't like to bash companies. That's not what this video is about. But we basically had to stop on this buggy for over a month. It's been about a month since I've actually made this video, but I didn't like the flare tool I was using, one of the cheap $40 part store ones. So Eastwood actually sells a really super nice flaring tool, so I ordered it. It's supposed to be in, and then I'm going to redo my brake lines because I just don't like, I bought a better bender. Actually Harbor Freight has one of the best brake line benders. But getting on the buggy, I promise you guys in the next few weeks you'll see this thing start and us get to drive it. Trust me, you're to be the one that owns it. It sucks sitting here watching it not get touched. You know, it's hard to do because I've put so much time and money into this thing. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out the links in the video description. We use a ton of Go Power Sports parts on this buggy, and you wouldn't think so because this is kind of a grade over, you know, this is a true buggy, not a go-kart. But Go Power Sports, we use their front hubs. Their 150 GY6 hubs are actually pretty stout little hubs. And you know, if you're doing a buggy like this, you can use brakes off of 150, would be perfectly fine. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys are getting through this quarantine time. It's almost up. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep faith in OJC, and he'll bring you through it. We love you guys, and God bless.